One of the biggest pro wrestling stars of the century, Brock Lesnar is the imposing former heavyweight champion of the UFC. He demonstrated his fighting prowess when he made the switch from the WWE to the UFC. This individual, however, is not beloved by everyone. Over the years, he's made a lot of enemies. Let's talk about why UFC fighters hate Brock Lesnar. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. His size. Never fail to acknowledge Lesnar's size, says undefeated former middleweight Chael Sonnen. Chael's approach is a lot more intriguing than you might anticipate when it comes to the very enormous Brock Lesnar. Brick is a large person. When Sonnen proceeded to analyze some of his wrestling credentials from back in his youth, he gave him a serious dressing down for his NCAA wrestling experience. According to Sonnen, the reason Brock was able to succeed as a freestyle wrestler in the heavyweight division was that he was much larger than any of his rivals. His attitude. After completing his first professional MMA fighting outside of the UFC in the first round during his debut, he won the bout. Lesnar signed a contract that was undoubtedly lucrative after Dan and his team arrived at a knock-in. The promotion did not hesitate to put him up for a crucial test against the former champion Frank Mir, even if a steady ascent could have been the wiser course of action. Unexpectedly, Brock was able to overwhelm Mir and pummel him with some savage grit and pound right off the bat. Mir, who holds a black belt in BJJ, unfortunately, took advantage of him soon after. To secure the submission and force Lesnar to tap, he was able to locate his leg. But when they rematched, Lesnar prevailed because their animosity was far from ended. Brock allegedly went too far when he taunted Mir following the fight. Holding up the division. There was a period when it appeared as though the long-retired Brock would be handed an immediate opportunity at UFC Gold, despite having no wins to speak of in a year. Just after Daniel Cormier defeated Steven Miocic via knockout to win his second UFC championship. This was a blatant display of disdain on the part of the UFC toward the top 5 heavyweight contenders. Being the lovely man that he is, Steven Miocic, who appeared destined to face DC again, couldn't help but speak out about the unexpected stop to the division's normal flow and how he felt belittled by it all. The key takeaways from Miocic's remarks about Brock Lesnar seemed to suggest that the 300-pound behemoth was more than just a nuisance who was standing in the way of his legitimate chance to challenge Cormier for the belt. Miocic is the kind of man who can convey a lot with very few words. After a significant mid-fight change, Stipe successfully defended his title by coining DC in the 4th round. Lesnar never did return to the cage. His offstage personality. Brock Lesnar's shockingly effective title rant was put to an end by Cain Velasquez. The heavyweight division entering a new age by brutally coining the champion made it appear as though the rivalry had come to an end. Although Cain respects Brock as a competitor, he claims that he just can't get past the way that his on-screen image seeps into his actual nature. The tension that the huge heavyweight still feels with him is something that he can't get over, but he made it obvious that he appreciates that about Lesnar. Fan attention. The UFC made sure to give Alistair Overeem a good test before his debut in the UFC, which came after a run in kickboxing and Pride. One of the physically craziest appearing MMA matches ever resulted from something. You had Brock, the beast that he truly is, face-to-face with a beefed-up horse meat era. The heavyweight match of our dreams, at least according to the paper. A level of physicality that was unsurpassed in the sport was brought by two freaks of nature. On fight night, Overeem handled the former champion admirably, devastating him with his knowledge of kickboxing and winning via TKO in the opening frame. Overeem hasn't been shy about criticizing Lesnar afterward and does so whenever he can. Mark Hunt, his biggest rival. Mark Hunt is his biggest opponent of Lesnar. The opponent Brock shared the cage with at UFC 200. Overall, not a particularly memorable contest. The majority of the time, Lesnar dominated him with his wrestling. Brock had been out of the ring for several years at that point, and they were eager to get him for their major UFC 200 event. He was excused from routine testing when he came out of retirement by the UFC and the relevant anti-doping agency. Lesnar seemed to be performing well in the cage overall, successfully fending off Hunt's one-hitter quit power to claim the deciding victory by a unanimous vote. but it was discovered that Lesnar had tested positive for a prohibited drug after the post-fight partying subsided and UFC 200 had passed. This would happen to Mark Hunt innumerable times in the past. So guys, that was it for this video. What did you think about our video? Let us know in the comment section below. If you are new to our channel, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching.